Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it'll be interesting to see how the events unfold with it, because I don't like stuff like that, obviously, but it's interesting to find out.
I do.
You know,
I love to watch the world burn.
Yeah. Dark.
Hello, Internet. You're listening to the In Your House Comedy Podcast with
KD and Kersey.
Now hold on to your butts. Keep your arms and legs inside the podcast at all times. Prepare to have an autographical orgasm in 3, 2, 1.
Have you seen what apparently, like, literally, I think it was literally yesterday. So this is Friday we're recording now, so Thursday.
Yeah.
Apparently the leaked title for Spider-Man 3.
No, what is it?
I'll show you it.
Okay.
Because I got a picture for it. But that's apparently what they were going for. I can't imagine they're going for that now. Spider-Man Homesick.
Spider-Man Homesick.
It makes sense.
Yeah, but where is he going to be if he's not in New York and he's going to be homesick?
Well, because he's a fugitive now, isn't he? At the end
Oh, yeah, technically, yeah. I completely forgot about that.
But
bear with me.
The thing I saw it on made a point though that they were like, I can't see that being the title because I can't imagine Marvel putting the word sick in any title for a long while now.
Yeah, definitely.
Mate, it's true.
Yeah, that's yeah, but that all the kids are saying sick, aren't they? Again, that'll be a sick title.
Yeah, that's homesick blood. I think that's more of an old man slang thing now, to be honest.
Is it? Are we that old?
We are old now. We're almost 30.
I think I felt. No, I was just gonna say I felt 30 this whole year. Just felt old and fat because I've just been sitting around drinking beer, working from home, and not getting that much exercise.
Yeah, well, 2020's been broken. That just shouldn't count.
2020 is broken like our souls.
We have different assholes, apparently.
Yeah, there you go.
Mine is ruptured.
Ruptured. Okay. That's not. I don't know if that's a term you use for your soul, Carl, but you know.
From what?
For your soul. I don't know if it's a term that you use for your soul.
Oh, I thought we were talking about assholes.
Oh no, souls.
Oh, okay.
Souls.
It's not any better, is it, though?
It's not. Not at
all. There's one thing I wanted to ask you about. Did you hear anything? I think it was over the last week, or close enough anyway. The crazy murder that Marty Jannetty has taken claim for. For anyone watching this who doesn't know who Marty Jannetty is, he was a wrestler from back in the day. Here's a picture of him for anyone watching the video. It's
point out which one it is. Oh, go on.
Well, he's the one who's not Shawn Michaels. But he's the one with brown hair. People know Shawn Michaels.
I don't know. He's bald now.
True. He is very bald. He's an Eggman.
Yeah.
Eggman.
Yeah. Marty Jannetty, the one in the foreground, pointing his two fingers at you.
Yeah, the one with the brown hair. Partners with Shawn Michaels when Shawn Michaels was breaking into it, and then pretty much, yeah. Have you seen that anyway? What he?
Oh man, it's pretty bad. I mean, that's a true crime story about to come out right now, isn't it? You know.
Well, it's not even that. It's the pure crazy logistics of what he's like claiming. I mean, essentially, he's claiming that he went to a bowling alley when he was 13.
13 years old. Yeah.
The guy behind the counter wouldn't sell him weed because he must have been a dealer, I guess.
Yeah.
But then took him into the back alley.
That's it.
To sexually abuse him in some way. But then 13-year-old Marty Jannetty killed that guy and managed to make him disappear, which, you know, let's be clear, involves then getting him back out of said bowling alley or alleyway, getting him into a car that then the 13-year-old has to drive.
Yeah.
And then disappear him.
Have you thought about this? Marty Jannetty is a fantastic magician.
I have not thought.
Shazam, and the guy just disappears.
You know what? I could completely believe that he believes that.
I reckon he does. The dude makes up loads of stories, but
yeah, he does.
A lot of them tend to. I'm not sure if a lot of them have been true just yet. So I think the police are investigating it, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they kind of have to, really. Then that.
Yeah.
Someone basically says I murdered someone. They kind of have to check it out.
Yeah. And
stupid for him as well, because it seems like it's blatantly bullshit, and it's just him being crazy mighty Janetti.
Like
But
always.
but if there ends up being some kind of like, unsolved mystery from that time, he's just put himself right in it now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It'll be interesting to see how the events unfold with it, because I don't like stuff like that, obviously, but it's interesting to find out.
I do.
I
love to watch the world burn.
Yeah. Dark. So yeah, interesting.
No, I hear what you're saying. It will be very interesting to see if anything at all happens from it. Like, could just be blown out of proportion right now. Or this is wrestling after all.
Yeah, that's it.
I got wrestling into it. I'm happy now. I'm done. We're good.
Well done. Let's roll over.
But I will quickly say before anything else, though, that bear in mind, on the 31st of August, I will be doing the In Your Pub car park comedy night, and it will be on bank holiday, Monday the 31st of August at 6 p.m. It is $2.50 a ticket at the moment. Unless the ticket sales do shit, then it might just be free. But either way, it's going forward. We was a bit unsure with some of the stuff that had gone on recently. Checked out some of the guidelines. And yeah, it all seems like it's a go at the moment. If anything changes, we'll see. But right now, I'm fucking looking forward to that night. Yeah, man, I've already got confirmed as of recording this on the Friday. We've already definitely got. I'm going to check these so I don't miss anyone, actually. Stay with me. Because I know what I'm like. From memory, though, we have Simon Field. We have Griff. We have Joe Johnson, Lewis Taylor, and Taryn Shelley. I always get your name wrong. Shelley? I don't know. But Taryn, either way. Yeah, man.
Sounds good, man. Have you sold any tickets yet?
The pub's selling them, so I haven't gone back and checked them. Yeah, but they've been there for a couple of weeks and they're quite regular. And I spoke to some of the people that said they're coming, so we'll see.
Sounds good. Sounds like
yeah, man.
But no, man. I haven't been to anything like that for ages. So
yeah, at the moment they've actually announced yesterday that live gigs inside can go on again now. That live events. Yeah, but we're not doing it inside though. We're doing it outside.
So, cool.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Because who really has that much trust in what the government says?
Not a lot of trust, man.
Although I do like Boris. He's a funny chap.
Please don't do this. Don't do this to me.
Oh no, but I always like I also like many comedians because they're funny chaps, but I would not want them running my country.
No, that's true. Yeah, I must agree.
But anyway, enough of that then now. So it's your go first, isn't it, this week?
Oh, over to me. Oh, Cole.
It is over to you, my man.
I think you got something to play for me, though, to be fair. So
okay. It was like a minute longer for me, you said.
I think it's a minute and a half. So
yeah, just to let everyone know, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see what it is you got, and then we will go on with your story.
Thanks very much.
Don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry what I did to Compton. I couldn't help it. Don't know why I had to stab her. I am so upset about it. I keep getting drunk every night. I can't believe it. It's just like a big dream. I can't think of being locked up. If I get locked up, I'll kill myself. I'd rather kill myself than get locked up. I'll try not to kill anybody else.
Fire emergency.
Please don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry I killed that girl. I stabbed her 40 times. Kimberly Compton was the first one. Oh, my chief. I don't know what's the matter with me. I'm sick. I'm going to kill myself, I think.
Where are you?
I'm just going to... If somebody dies with a red shirt on, it's me. I killed both of you. I'm sorry. I'll never make it to heaven.
Calm down. Calm down.
Expert enough.
Oh, you find me? I just stabbed somebody with an ice pick. I can't stop myself. I keep killing somebody. Yes, please. This is an emergency. Please send a squad to Pierce Butler Road, Molenberg Manufacturing Company, machine shop. Please, there's an ambulance too. There's a girl hurt there.
Can you tell me what happened to her?
Just hurry. She's laying on the ground in the back by the railroad tracks, by the edge here. Hurry.
What's the address?
I don't know.
Who are you?
So.
Wow, that was kind of severely horrific, to be honest.
It's pretty creepy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the reason I chose one of these, this story this week, is because I literally only found about this guy like 2 weeks ago. And so he was a serial killer. His name's Paul.
That makes sense.
Name's Paul Michael Stephani, but it was also known as the Weepy-Voiced killer due to
where was this going down?
So, well, I'll give you a bit of a backstory, and then I'll of this gentleman. So, as I say, he was known as the Weepy-Voiced killer for those weird calls that were made. He basically killed 3 women in Minneapolis and in the St. Paul area. So, just a bit of background for our older Mr. Stephani. He was born in September 1944 in Minnesota, a child of 10 by a highly religious family. And he was married to Beverly Lyder, I believe is how you pronounce that, and had a daughter together. He was once convicted of aggravated assault and had a history of mental health illnesses. So you can see where this is going.
What was the sorry again?
So it actually
I didn't know
started.
you said that.
No, that's fine. It actually started in December, the 31st of December, 1980.
Oh, okay.
When he basically bludgeoned Karen Potak to death in St. Paul in Minnesota, inflicting wounds so bad that she had like brain injuries. And that
so she didn't die then?
Well, I think
at that point.
At this point, no. So basically, he attacked her. He inflicted all these injuries to her. She had like a brain injury. She actually survived.
The
attack. And at that point, that's when at 3 a.m. he reported the attack, saying there's a girl hurt here in one of the stories that he heard there.
Oh, okay.
So Karen actually survived. I don't know if she's still living to this day, but apparently she had like brain
She
problems.
had some fucked up. Yeah, she got hit in the head.
Yeah, so
she was hitting to kill.
For functional problems for the rest of her life, apparently. And then
I got hit on the head as a kid. I understand.
I can tell now. I can see why.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, how you are. So basically, it happened again. So he had quite a few victims, actually, all in all. So it happened again, and I don't know if you heard in the clip there, he said, "I'm sorry, what happened to Compton?" Well, he was actually referring to Kimberly Compton, and she was an 18-year-old student from Wisconsin. Now, this took place in 1981, June the 3rd, again in the St. Paul area of Minnesota.
So is that Minneapolis, Minnesota? Was it?
Yeah,
right in that. I forget now.
Minneapolis is in Minnesota. I don't know. I can't remember.
I just see it from wrestling. Always hear the two together, and I forget. I never remember which is which. Yeah,
I never know.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. So basically, he killed her. After killing her, he contacted the police by just saying, "I've stabbed her with the ice pick," which is what we heard previously, and he said he can't stop himself. I keep killing people.
Which you do hear from a lot of serial killers as well. As soon as I was hearing that stuff on the thing, I was thinking of Ed Kemper, if you've ever heard of him.
Yeah, the co-ed killer, as they call him.
Exactly, yeah, handing himself in and help, because he couldn't stop himself. I suppose it's like an addiction, isn't it?
Yeah,
they put it.
Pretty much. They just can't stop themselves. They get the thrill at the time, but then I suppose he's shown a little bit of remorse in a sense. But some people
afterwards,
have.
It's like when you have a wank and then you get hungry afterwards.
I can't say it never happened. But okay. Some people criticize him, saying he was being like sarcastic and stuff, and I don't know. We'll never know, will we? But
on the calls.
Yeah, like
I do them ironically. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look through like Reddit, any sort of your pages, comments on YouTube, people think he was being quite sarcastic about it.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so this happened on June the 3rd, 1981. On June the 6th, he called to say, what's this? Oh, wait. Sorry. So on June the 11th, I apologise, he came again, whimpering and being a bit weird. You know how he's got that really high-pitched voice for a male.
Yeah, yeah.
And, going, "I'm sorry for what I did to Compton." Again, what we heard in that clip there.
Compton.
So when I first heard it, I thought, "I'm sorry for what I did in Compton." I thought, whoa. What's he doing in Compton, killing people?
Yeah,
those are some, rough neighborhoods around there. So,
but made some great fucking music though.
They did. They absolutely did. So, on to his next victim. Do you want to know who she is?
So was that 2 so far? But the first one didn't die though.
2 so far. The first one didn't die. Second one did. Kimberly Compton, who was stabbed with an ice pick. Third.
1980, then 1981.
1980, 1981.
Okay.
Let's see with this one. I'm not too sure with the dates on this. Let me just double check because
You professional printed out notes and whatnot.
I have to, don't I? So this actually happened in 1982, on July the 21st. Her name was Kathleen Greening, who was found dead in her home, and she'd actually been drowned in her own bathtub.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he later confessed to the drowning in the bathtub at her Roseville residence over the phone.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, states that his fourth victim and last murder victim was Barbara Simmons, a 40-year-old nurse on the Minneapolis side of the Mississippi River. Basically, I think they met at a bar. Which bar is it? The Hexagon Bar. After I think they shared a cigarette together.
I'll be doing that now.
Well, I know you can't do that now, can you? Because of
Can't do that
coronavirus.
now.
So that will stop any serial killers from killing you.
Yeah.
So basically, they spent the night at the bar together. Simmons, Barbara Simmons, said to one of the waitresses, "He's cute. I hope he's nice since he's given me a ride home." Oh, did we know that he was going to kill her? Basically, she was found stabbed to death the next day. There were no calls after Greening's death. So Greening was the Kathleen Greening, the previous one in the bathtub.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then basically he did eventually come clean with that his murder of where are we? Simmons, saying that first one we heard, "Please don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry I killed that girl. I stabbed her 40 times." Kimberly Compton was the first one in St. Paul. So, yeah.
40 times, fucking hell.
Yeah, 40 times. 40 times. So
it's a bit hard to do that and then be so remorseful afterwards.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like I don't get like he's had like Arawis. So let's go over it again. So his first victim, Karen Potok, she survived, had the brain injury.
Whack my light on 1 second.
No worries.
Carry on.
That's cool. So we've got Karen Potok. She survived, had a brain injury. He murdered Kimberly Compton. That's the one he stabbed with the ice pick. Murders Kathleen Greening. He drowned her in her own bathtub. And then the last one, Barbara Simmons, he stabbed her over 100 times. Now, this is where Paul Michael Stephani gets captured. So we'll go on to how he gets captured. So he picked up a 19-year-old sex worker named Denise Williams.
90?
19.
Oh, fuck yeah. That makes more sense.
She would have been an old sex worker if she was prostitute. Let's say prostitute. We can say prostitute, can't we?
All really experienced.
Yeah, I mean, she would have fair play to her if she's 19.
Imagine what you can do when you take those teeth out.
So he met her in August 21st, to be precise, 1982, again in Minneapolis. She sensed something was wrong with Stephani when he began driving through a dark suburban area rather than returning her back to the city where he originally picked her up. They eventually went down a dead-end road. He actually stabbed her 15 times with a screwdriver. During the attack, Denise Williams was able to hit Stephani on the head with a glass bottle. I think the glass bottle was in like an empty bottle in his car.
Yeah.
Smashed him over the head, causing cuts to his head and face. So fair play to Denise Williams.
Yeah.
You know? So
and that was after being stabbed like 15 times, you said?
Yeah, 15 times.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, 15 times. I suppose, I think it happened after, from how it reads. 15 times, smashed him over the head with a bottle. She survives from all accounts.
Oh, okay.
With a screwdriver as well. The worst thing ever with a screwdriver. I mean, they're quite sharp, but they're not that sharp, are they? So
no, but you just have to force that through, I imagine.
Yeah, really had to. So her screams out loud, help me, began to draw the attention of a man who lived nearby. And once he saw Stephani trying to stab Williams again, so not only did he stab her 15 times, he tried to stab her again.
Well, you're already at 15 by that point. I mean,
It's
you know,
16. There you go. One for
you
the
might
month.
as well just one more. It's not going to. Well,
Exactly.
it's going to do something, but you know.
So basically, this man, unknown name, no one's ever come forward with his name. He basically wrestled Stephani to the ground. The man was able to call an ambulance for Williams and later help identify Stephani. Basically, when Stephani returned to his home, he noticed he was bleeding badly after being bashed over the face and the head with a bottle, as you do.
That was, yeah.
And basically, I think he phoned the ambulance or went to the hospital to get cleaned up.
Yeah.
And then, so when he must have been on the phone to say either come and get me or I'm coming in, because the dispatcher noticed his voice was very similar to the calls that they've been receiving, as they call him the Weepy-Voiced killer.
Yeah.
So this actually linked him to the attack even further. So of course they did a bit more investigation with his voice, and then they've got the guy.
Yeah, like voice analytics and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so they arrest him.
Yeah. So they initially got on wind that it was him. Then was it more so from the guy? I suppose it'd be the woman as well, wouldn't it? Be the both of them identifying him.
I mean, if you're on a call and you're saying I've killed somebody, and then later down the line you phone your services up and say, "Oh, I've got cuts to my face," they're going to connect the dots, and I guess that's what they did.
Oh yeah. So, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So the two on their own may not have worked, but the two together,
100%.
Yeah.
There we go. We've got our killer. They're pinpointing on him. So I believe they're going to arrest him, bring him to trial.
Yeah.
It says that during Stephani's trial in Simmons' murder case, Stephani's ex-wife, I'm guessing he must have divorced her at some period between the early 80s. His ex-wife, his sister, and a woman who lived with him testified that he believed the hysterical caller was really what's this? Who lived with him testified that they believed the hysterical caller was actually Stephani, so they testified against him.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's got a really high pitched voice and he's crying. And
yeah, I mean, it's one of them though, and it like that would be really feeble evidence on its own though. Like he sounds like him. It's like because even when when you record someone like on a wire or something, everyone assumes everyone assumes that's perfect evidence, but it's not, because it's just a sound. You can fake it. There's people out there that do it for a job.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I mean, as long
with
as
everything else he's done, though,
Yeah. And I suppose with that guy who wrestled him, he's got a pretty good, vision of the guy.
I did see him. Yeah. What's with the fucking thing on his cheek? I kept seeing that. Oh, that was when he got whacked by the bottle.
So the bandage on his cheek would be the when he got hit over the face with the bottle.
Of course. Yeah.
But so they took him to trial.
Take me to church.
So he was actually convicted of the murder of Simmons and the attempted murder of Williams, and is sentenced to 40 years in jail. Do you want to know the really annoying thing though? He actually died of cancer in 1998.
Oh, damn it.
I know.
What's that annoying?
He didn't get to spend enough time in jail, Carl.
Oh, I don't believe that anyway.
So, yeah. So,
I hear what you're saying. So when was he actually got put down? Sorry. When was he got arrested?
Put down. I think it was pretty much the same year. Let's have a look. Let me just go back.
90 something.
Let's have a look. I think it would have been 1982.
Oh, okay. And then he was there for like 10 years.
Let's have a look. Apprehended. 1982 is apprehended. So brought in, went to trial.
Oh.
So he had a good few years in prison.
Yeah.
But I mean, for those.
He proper shot himself in the foot though, in a sense, because I mean, there's so many things there that like is weird for a serial killer, like the way he killed him differently each times, like the bathtub, and there's usually like a pattern with it. So that alone probably wouldn't have even made them put them together.
No, because
unless he'd have called them.
There's no pattern. The only pattern there is, as you say, with the phone calls.
Yeah.
But he did actually confess to all of the murders in 1997. So he was actually diagnosed with skin cancer. and given less than a year to live. So I suppose he died like a year later. He decided to confess. Well, yeah, exactly. He decided to confess to the murders of Kim Compton, Barbara Simmons, and Kathy Greening. He's not been the suspect in Greening's death, apparently, as he'd not even made a phone call to the police as he had done in the other cases.
Which one was that?
That would have been the Greening death. So the Greening death,
the one you said that he didn't call after, wasn't it? That was the
bathtub one.
Oh, was that the bathtub one? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So Kathy Greening, he confessed to as well.
Yeah.
So
that made more sense because that's the one that's most different than the others anyway. So I could buy that not being him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he can. In all, he confessed to 1, a beating attack in 1980, 2, stabbing Kimberly Compton to death in 1981, 3, drowning Kathy Greening in 1982, 4, stabbing Barbara Simmons to death in 1982, and 5, stabbing Denise Williams in 1982. It's a bit of a weird one, that is. As I say, I've only come across it 2 weeks ago. I saw the videos, and it just really it really got to me. Like those videos are just harrowing, really.
Listen to that. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because when I first heard them, I thought maybe that was legit, but then as you've gone through it, it's like, well, if you really did feel as bad as you was making out in them calls,
yeah,
you would have then handed yourself in, but would you?
Just you don't know, do you? Inside of pretty much. I guess he.
If he was very fragile mental state, then yeah, I suppose.
Would he be a serial killer if he's killed 3 people?
Yeah, it's 3 people, isn't it? A serial
3
killer.
people, so he's a serial killer.
That's the benchmark.
It is now, even though it's 3. I don't see why it has to be 3. You think multiple killings would just be enough, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Some people thought it was a woman who was just like hysterical at seeing people being murdered at the time, but I can kind of see that because of just how high pitched his voice is at the time. So,
but you would do that, though. I mean, yeah. If you're like me and you're not manly at all, I'm always saying very high pitched. I don't know. Not like weird noises.
No. Yeah, not right. Maybe when you're crying in your sleep. I don't know.
That happens a lot. I'm not there though.
There you go, man.
I'm usually trying to ignore the tears and masturbate. What? So what? Yeah. All right, cool then. So that means it's on to me now then.
Yeah. What have you got for me this week?
Okay, I've got 2 smaller stories for you this week, just because of the ball ache I had trying to put together everything last week. I wanted to make my life as easy as possible this week.
Good. You need notes, like how professional, like just like a newscaster like this.
I've got notes, but they're in front of me. Okay, so the first one then I'm going to give you this week is I didn't quite know how to name it because it's quite debate. But anyway, I've referred to it as the strange combustible case of Mary Reeser.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so July 2nd, 1951 in St. Petersburg, Florida. Mary Reeser was visited by her son at her flat, who was a doctor. She told him she had taken 2 Seconal tablets. Seconal were a sedative commonly used to chill out patients before surgery, like Valium today, basically.
Yeah, got you.
Which is good.
She was probably quite chill, high, sleepy.
She'd only had 2. She was all right, but she just wanted to check with him that she was okay to take 2 more before bed. We assume he said yes because he was a doctor. That's the only. For some reason, it seems to be very important in the story to everyone else, but I don't know why. Later that night, she would fall asleep in her chair for the last time.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
what's coming?
At 5 a.m., her landlady stated she smelled smoke when she was doing something, but she didn't think anything weird, and she went back into her flat. It's not weird to smell smoke at 5 a.m. in the morning.
No, someone might be cooking toast and burning it.
It might smell like bacon.
Oh.
As someone stated in the thing that I was watching before, that's not me. Don't insult me for that.
Okay. Yeah.
No. Yeah, so she smelled smoke. And then at 8 a.m., she got some stuff together and she was going to take some leaflets down to Mary Reeser herself. But as she got nearer, she could smell smoke again, getting stronger. She then saw a load of soot on the floor leading up towards her door. And when she got there, she tried the handle to open it. She knocked, sorry, there was no answer, but she tried the handle to open it and it was too hot for her to touch. It was just red hot. So she got, who was it? Enlisted the help of nearby house decorators to manage to gain access into the room.
When you said the handle was too hot to touch, all I could think about was Home Alone.
Yeah.
All I could think about it was just like someone burning like the imprint of a letter onto their hand and just screaming at the top of their lungs, and then going really high pitched like the Weepy-Voiced killer.
I was wondering that if she burned her hand. I didn't make any point about that. I wanted to know how, like, when they said that, but I'm assuming not, because after this anyway, she went in there with the decorators.
Yeah.
And they walked in, and just what they saw was just made no sense to them or to anyone after, or to any. Just it makes no sense what was in that room at all. Okay, so first of all, then after they went in there, they saw the stuff, and they called firemen, they came down, saw the stuff, police too, etc. What they discovered in there were, first of all, the cremated remains of Mary Reeser.
Whoa.
So she was in that chair. Her in the chair were essentially a pile of ash now. But her skull was sat in the middle of it still. Shrunken down to the size of a small cup.
What?
Parts of her spine also remained in the pile, and also her left foot, still in the black satin slipper that she was wearing, was completely intact and undamaged, pretty much where you'd imagine it would be if she was sitting down, you know.
And skin was intact on the bone.
Completely undamaged. He even had the slipper and the silk stuff on still.
Weird.
Yeah. So that's the beginning of the weirdness for it. Okay.
I just can't get out. Sorry, I was just going to say, I can't get over like the skull had shrunk, like some kind of voodoo stuff. You know, have you seen Beetlejuice? Like,
yeah, I've seen Beetlejuice,
and like they shrink the heads, and like his head goes like really small. Just weird. Maybe some sort of voodoo.
Definitely voodoo. There was some cremation expert. He talks a bit later, but he did mention that normally in this kind of thing, in house fires, you would imagine, or when someone's cremated, you would imagine that normally what would happen is the skull would like swell or even explode. So it's literally the complete opposite of what would normally happen.
Strange, really strange.
Very fucking strange, man.
Yeah.
But after this, though, there's also the surrounding area. So that was just her in the flat. So her body was mostly cremated, like we said. A cremation expert involved stated that the body would have to burn at 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 3 to 4 hours for that to happen. Yet somehow, because even more weird than what we've already said as well, somehow, other than the chair she was sat in, the surrounding area, as well as the apartment in general, was strangely undamaged, considering the close proximity to said fire. So
I'm going to say, and it sounds really harsh, but there's no funeral costs involved in that, is there?
There is not.
But what can you? No, I do feel really bad for that individual who had to like go in there and just see like that. But imagine like leaving your mum and she just explodes. What was that drug again called? Sorry.
It was called. This is the reason why I brought it up, because some people do try to make out that it was something he did because he allowed the prescriptions that sedated her.
Yeah, because he was
possibly.
A doctor, yeah.
But she only had a tiny amount anyway. It was Seconal. Seconal.
I wonder if like she added a bit of gin with it and it just like ignited or something inside.
But I mean that still shouldn't do anything like that though. But it gets into that though.
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, so where do we get to? Damage. Okay, yeah. So in regards to what we said about the surrounding area, now I got a bit more info for that. Okay, so for example, in the corner where the fire occurred, where she was sat in the chair, the nearby walls were not damaged at all. Like the lower walls when but basically the only thing that were damaged was the roof was covered in soot just at the top of the walls from where the soot went up to. But there was no scorch marks on the walls. There was no cracked paint. There was nothing like that. In the middle of the walls are fine. The light switches, which are situated higher where the walls were unharmed, the light switches were melted though. But the electric sockets were absolutely fine and still in working order, which is important because a lot of people said maybe it was an electrical fire.
Right.
But that doesn't really make sense because they wouldn't be working still, and
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was 1951, so being able to figure out that kind of stuff I'm guessing, wasn't as easy.
No, I mean back then, like even like forensics and stuff was very different, wasn't it? So there's only so much you could do with certain cases. So
no,
this is like one of the stories from basically human combustion, isn't it? Like, is this one of the first cases?
Oh no, spontaneous human combustion. There's been over 200 alleged cases.
Oh really?
The first one happened in, I think it's 1472, but that's also mentioned in a bit too.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry.
No, we're on the same wavelength at least. Yeah, it's also considered strange that none of Mary's neighbours noticed the fire, be that the smell of smoke or the heat that would be radiating from her apartment, from the one next door, because it was just a block of flats,
Yeah, especially as you say with the heat, you'd think you'd feel it. When was it? Was it in winter time? Does it say?
Have a look. Did I say July 2nd? So that would be summer, wouldn't it?
Summer, yeah.
In Florida as well, that would be, yeah.
Yeah, summer. Oh, I would have thought. I'm not sure.
I think so, yeah. I think it still works the same.
Yeah, weird.
For them, anyway.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, because SummerSlam, of course. What we're on about.
Yeah. But I suppose if it was summer, you wouldn't really notice then, would you? Because of how scorching hot. Especially, was it in Florida? Did you say?
It was in Florida, but 3,000 degrees, though. That's not a normal house fire temperature.
It's not.
But possibly. Okay, yeah. So this is the one that I pointed out. There's a couple of things here that I think is the strangest of them all.
Yep.
So right next to her chair, there was a huge stack of newspapers, absolutely undamaged. No burn marks on it whatsoever. But then, even weirder than that, on on a unit at the side, like on a table or something, just drawers, I think it was. There was, those old style big 3-pronged candlestick holders you'd see with the big candles in them.
Yeah.
The big long upright ones. It was one of them, but all the wax had melted away, but the wicks were still upright still.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I know.
That's all I can keep saying about this tale.
It's a very weird tale.
But strange.
Dr. Wilton M. Krogman, professor of physical anthropology at University of Pennsylvania, was quoted as stating he was amazed and baffled as he could not conceive of such a complete cremation without more burning of the apartment itself. He also continued on to say that during his 30-plus, supposed to say fire investigations, he said dive investigations, he had never seen a skull shrink like Mary's had, as they usually become swollen and explode. Like we said,
Well, okay.
Various samples were gathered from the remnants of the chair, the rug, etc., and sent to an FBI lab. And after conducting tests, they stated that they found no evidence of any combustibles whatsoever used in the fire. The only thing they did find was melted fat in the rug.
Do you remember those scenes in Fight Club? Do you reckon they made? From the fat.
I was so late to watching that film, literally 4 years ago, maybe 5, I don't know.
When did it come out now?
Oh, in the 90s at some point.
98 or something like that. 99.
Like that. Yeah,
I think I watched it on DVD. Do you remember when the DVD for player first come out? It must have been the late 90s or early 90s. And I think the Matrix on there and stuff, and the Scorpion King as well. And
I remember Scorpion King was one of the first ones I had actually. Genuinely, I think
2002 or something like that. But I remember getting
now they're £5 to buy down the fucking shop.
But I remember seeing Fight Club when it was, I don't know, about 13 in 2003. So.
Oh, you watched it then?
Yeah.
I wish I had done. It was one of them. I always thought it was just, from what I heard, Fight Club. I literally just thought it was guys fight. I didn't know any of the other stuff happened.
Oh, we shouldn't be talking about it though, should we? Really? So.
Oh, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't be talking about Raw and either.
No, we shouldn't.
I do really like that film though. Still don't understand what Meatloaf was doing in it, and I never will understand it with his big tits. Yeah. But whatever.
Hey ho, someone's got to pay the bills somehow, hasn't he? After all those songs that have been overplayed on the radio. So,
but why did he have to have boobies?
He's just a big man, isn't he?
No, he had overgrowing boobies from having steroids or something. Remember?
I think it was just a bit of humour added to the serious film.
Humour.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So
the cause of the fire.
Yes.
So there was no evidence of a cause to the fire. However, Mary was reportedly seen smoking a cigarette in the chair only days before, which is commonly believed to be the cause of the fire in most circles, but which is also because they didn't find a cigarette, but that's obviously you wouldn't expect to find a cigarette.
Yeah.
Because what they believe could have happened was that she dropped a cigarette on a nightgown, which then created something called the wicker effect, which is a term that's used to describe when clothes that have been set on fire act as a wick, like a candle,
Right.
to the body, then the body catches fire. And then, as I said here, the FBI stated once the body became ignited, almost complete suction occurs from its own fatty tissues. However, like everyone says, that doesn't make a lot of sense because if you drop a cigarette on your nightgown, no matter what condition you're in, you're going to wake up, you're going to move in the slightest bit. You're not going to sit there and burn.
Just.
I'm on fire. Yeah, it's not going to happen. It makes no sense, but it's, because obviously people are saying she was sedated and that, but it's like, yeah, but the doctor told, like her son, the doctor said, just take 2 and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
He ain't going to tell her debatable, isn't it?
Fair. Yeah.
He's not he was, from what I saw, he was never an official suspect, but it's just, I guess, something that, people talk about with this case.
Well, yeah, I mean, with most things such as this, like normally they would turn to husbands and things like that. So I suppose how they seem to have like a decent relationship if he's providing her with drugs. So they're going to turn to the,
No, she had the drug. He didn't even supply her. She had them.
Oh, okay. She had them already. Got you.
Yeah. Not on prescription, but it's not in 51. It probably wasn't that hard to find them. So alternate theories on the fire. Detective Burgess, which is the guy that was involved in the investigation at the time, and he was also the chief detective. He actually received a letter addressed to the chief of detectives that stated, "A ball of fire came through the open window and hit her. I seen it happen." That's bullshit.
It was a meteor.
It was a meteor. So fuck knows what that was all about. But obviously one of the other main theories is that she, like we said, was a victim of spontaneous human combustion.
Yep.
Which surprisingly is more reports and evidence of than you'd thought. There's been over 200 alleged cases of spontaneous human combustion on record. The earliest in 1470, in Milan, Italy, when someone died from bursting into flames after a night of drinking. But his death.
Can you imagine that now? Just going to one of the nightclubs. I don't know. I don't really go to nightclubs, but going to Pop World.
No one does right now, dude.
Well, yeah, true. Coming out of Pop World at like 2 a.m. Like, all right, lads, yeah, I've had a great time. Bang.
Yo, you on fire? Yeah, I am.
Yes, I'm on fire. I'm having a great time.
I like how the one club you could have said was Pop World. Out of all the ones you could have said, you came out with Pop World.
It's the only one I could think of. I don't really go to. I haven't been to clubs for ages. Snobs. Okay, we'll put Snobs in there instead.
Yeah, that's better.
Is it?
No. I never go myself that much.
Yeah, so
the only time on social is when I'm on stage talking to people.
Or on here.
Or on here. Yeah.
On here.
Sorry, and then a few more. 1745, the Countess Cornelia Bandi of Cesena, Italy, was found burned to a pile of ashes with only her legs intact. 1982.
What is it? Sorry, I was going to say, why do you think it's always the legs? Are they the thickest part of the body or something to burn down?
There is something here actually that does talk about it, or there was in the video. It was involved in it, that part of it.
Oh, I jumped on there early, didn't I? Sorry.
No, that's a good thing. In 1982, the family of Jean Safin claimed that they saw her burst into flames in her London home. That's 1982. And then in 2010, a coroner claimed spontaneous combustion to be the cause of death of 76-year-old Irishman Michael Fahety when he was found in his home with none of his surroundings damaged by the fire, much like Mary Reeser.
Okay.
There is something here. The science of human combustion involves internal fluids turning into gas, and then the melted fat from so there's the gas, something ignites it inside, and then melts everything inside basically, and then that melts the fat, and then the fat melts onto the organs and bones, which melts that, and then it starts to ignite into a fire somehow. Because I think they said one of the gases that's made would be methane.
Methane, yeah.
Yeah. Theories as to why you could ignite is stress, static electricity, and bacteria. And the melted fat makes sense in regards to, because then it would go down and then go into the rug like happened in hers. However, in 2012, in New Scientist magazine, biologist Brian J. Ford theorized that a large concentration of acetate in the body may contribute to spontaneous human combustion. Acetone buildup can occur from alcohol, diet, and diabetes, which are all ironically usually factors in alleged spontaneous combustion, much in the case of Mary Reeser.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Man, I've heard about spontaneous human combustion before, but yeah, just you wouldn't think it would even happen.
Some actual facts behind it.
Well, yeah, 2010 as well. I didn't really know the facts about it, but I mean,
2012, it was in New Scientist magazine. No, that's been already then.
Oh, well, yeah, but was 2010 the last case of it? Do we know?
The last reported case here.
Yeah,
2010. Yeah.
I mean, that's 10 years. So, oh man, that's creepy
really
to know.
Though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to know that you could just one day just bang. I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can avoid it. Is there any ways to avoid it? I mean, like, you know, you've got things like
the usual stuff from the look of it. Don't drink alcohol. Don't be stressed out.
So
don't have diabetes.
So everything that we all have, we just can't get away from it.
Don't live, Aaron.
Yeah, okay. I'll keep it in mind.
Even oxygen is damaging to our bodies.
It's true. Yeah,
literally.
I'm gonna have to. It'll be interesting to see the photos of this. I mean, I can imagine they're quite graphic.
I haven't actually seen any actual photos of it, to be honest. It's 1951, so there's a good chance, there wouldn't have been, people walking in taking them the photos from. Well, I think there was a few little photos of the area actually. Yeah. There's photos of the surrounding area, but there's no photos in regard. You don't see the foot.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen the photo of the foot.
Might have to look at that, and I'll put like a disclaimer on the old Instagram post if we find anything interesting.
Oh yeah. I mean, sure there must be. I mean, I did find it for my quiz before. I did find a sex toy that was a dismembered foot with a vagina in the bottom, and there's one with the vagina on the bloody nubby bit too. So we can use that if not.
Just create our own version of it. Yeah.
Yeah. We might as well.
That's interesting, man. I've always been interested in about spontaneous human combustion. I think
it's just one of them weird things, isn't it?
Doesn't Kenny have it?
That's exactly where my mind went.
Oh, really?
No, that's when they light their farts, isn't it? And then
that's when it blows up. Yeah, I think it's something like that. That always made me laugh quite a lot.
Still got another story here for you, though.
Come on, hit me with the chips.
Okay, so this one works perfectly, and I'm going to pretend I did this on purpose. On purpose.
On purpose. That one.
On purpose. So this works perfectly because as of when we're recording tomorrow, I'm not sure if you're aware, is VJ Day.
No, I did not know that.
Do you know what that is? Because I didn't know that existed until today.
No.
Sound like a sex toy to me, VJ Day, but it's actually it's the date that Japan surrendered, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it works perfectly because I'm about to tell you the story of Hirro Onoda.
Oh, okay. I love it. I love a good person's Japanese person named Hirro because there was a character in Heroes called Hirro, and it always made me laugh because his name was Hirro. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
That was one I never got into. So it's the story of Hirro Onoda and how he became the soldier who carried on fighting World War II for 29 years after it had finished. So a little bit of history about him. Onoda was a Japanese citizen who was called to join the Japanese army when he was 20 years old. He was sent to Nakano School to be trained as an Imperial Army intelligence officer, where he was taught methods of gathering intelligence and how to conduct guerrilla warfare. He was being trained to go in behind enemy lines with small groups of soldiers to make life miserable for the enemies and gather intelligence in the process. So that was a general mission. On December 26, 1944, he was sent to Lubang Island in the Philippines, and his orders from his commanding officer stated, and I quote, as they say, "You are absolutely forbidden to die by your own hand. It may take 3 years, it may take 5, but whatever happens, we'll come back for you. Until then, so long as you have one soldier, you are to continue to lead him. You may have to live on coconuts. If that's the case, live on coconuts.
Fair.
Under no circumstances are you to give up your life voluntarily." Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Pretty solid instructions, really, isn't it?
yeah, go there. Don't leave until we tell you.
Yeah, and survive on coconuts, like Tom
Survive on
Hanks
coconuts.
in Castaway.
I watched most of Martian earlier, and it's basically, Castaway in space, isn't it?
Yeah, Castaway in space, but potatoes replace the coconuts.
Yeah. However, there were issues with some outside forces, and Inadam and his men were unable to complete many of the orders. And then on February 28th, 1945, Allied forces were able to conquer and take the island. After that battle was won, surviving Japanese soldiers would disappear and hide in the jungles on the island in small groups of 3 or 4. Most of the groups were quickly killed off. However, Inadam and his group of 3 were not. So there was him and 4 other people in the jungle at this point, his little group. There were a few other cells of groups as well, but they pretty much died off very quickly.
Yep.
Okay, so they continued to use guerrilla warfare to hold back the enemy as much as they could while strictly rationing supplies. They would also attack neighbouring farms when they could to take their food and supplies. In October 1945, they came across a leaflet supposedly from the locals that said the war ended on August the 15th, come down from the mountains. The few remaining cells decided that this must be propaganda from the enemy, as they believed there was no way Japan could have lost the war in such a small time. Which, to be fair, makes sense to someone that doesn't know about the A-bombs dropping in on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah, because if they're isolated away from it,
yeah, they had no idea.
Yeah, they don't know what's going on at all. So you think, oh, my country's going strong and we're going to win this war. So
from what I remember, they were doing pretty good until like the A-bomb kind of changed everything, didn't
Yeah.
it? So,
pretty much.
yeah, and it was only a matter of months from when they got sent there. So, you know.
It was.
What did I get to then? I got to there, didn't I? Where's that gone? Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah,
Supplies.
yeah.
The few remaining cells decided that this must be propaganda from the enemies, as they believed there was no way Japan could have lost the war in such a small. Oh wait, I just said that.
You did.
I just said that.
Lost the war in such a small time. That's the bit you said, I think.
It's really important. No, I had to say it again.
Very.
Near the end of that same year, the loco. This is why I don't drink before I talk. I have a hard enough time talking when I'm sober. God graced me with a tiny tongue. Near the end of the same year, the locals, who were tired of being shot at by the soldiers from the jungle, managed to have a plane drop more leaflets to them. This time, an order to stand down was included in print by their original commanding officer. The remaining cells of soldiers once again scrutinised the leaflets, and in the end, they decided the wording seemed fishy, and that it seemed to imply that Japan lost the war, which could never have happened.
Yeah.
Couldn't happen. They couldn't. Literally says here it was something they could not comprehend.
No.
They believed it was the Allies, tired of their guerrilla tactics, trying to trick them into surrender.
Okay. I suppose you would, though, if you're confident your country's going in strong.
Yeah.
Someone comes along and says, "Oh, it's over, lads." You'd be like, "Ah, no, it's not."
And this is only 1945 as well. So this is still October 1945, so the same year, ain't this?
Yeah.
Okay, when that didn't work, more leaflets and other materials are dropped, including newspaper clippings, photographs and letters from loved ones. And also delegates were sent in from Japan to walk through the jungle and communicate this message over a loudspeaker. However, every time the cells of soldiers found something suspicious about whatever evidence was put in front of them, they were getting a bit more paranoid by this point, which, once again, I understand.
Yeah.
You know. They continued on with the mission, and even when everyone they encountered were wearing civilian clothing, they assumed this must be another elaborate ploy to trick them by the Allies. They considered the fact that every time they fired on these civilians, surely thereafter search parties would arrive hunting them. And they also decided the delegates being sent in were Japanese prisoners being forced to go in there and try and flush them out.
Right.
Which I get.
Ah.
I get it, but it's a bit like, okay,
Come on, guys.
you know.
It's over now. Come on. Get out.
But they don't know still, but this carries on for about another 5 years, though.
5 years. So we get
Another
to
5,
they get to 1950 and they still think the wolves are
49. Yeah.
49. Okay.
Actually, yeah, that's 4 years. That's a good point.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm sure I failed maths.
I'm going by what they said. Don't blame me. I didn't fail maths. I got a C.
Yeah, you got better. I didn't even get a score, Carl. So you did better than me.
I only got a C because the teacher did all my coursework for me.
Good man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so after about 5 years of this, one of the 4 in Onoda's group decided to surrender, but didn't tell the other 3. He slipped away from the others and then spent a further 6 months in the jungle on his own. I'm guessing trying to find his way out of the jungle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't really say what he was doing in that time. But he eventually surrendered to who he believed to be Allied troops. And due to this event, Onoda Cell, their group, became even more cautious and paranoid because they saw it as a security risk, because they could have been captured, could have been telling them where they were. So I guess they probably moved as well.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get the thinking of that though. Like, is this 5 years after the war had ended?
Yeah,
that it happened. So he goes out into the jungle and then he surrenders and says, "I was a part of the Japanese side."
Yeah.
Well, just say I was just having a little wander and I got lost in the jungle. Can someone help me find my way home? You wouldn't surrender, would you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he might have just at the same time been thinking that they might not be. He might have just been a bit, you've been in there for 5 years. I can imagine you're not in your best frame of mind,
Yeah.
And they used, like Japan as well. I know with the kamikaze pilots, they used to dose them up like crazy. A lot of like the armies did in World War II, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of thing like that as well, involved. But yeah, that's all from him. So that's the last you hear from him. But obviously, they were worried of security threat, etc. Skip forward then another 5 years.
Yeah.
And another one of the group was killed during a skirmish on the beach at Gontin, and now there was only 2 of them left.
Okay, so would this be 1954 or 55 now? Where are we?
Yeah, this would have been around 1954, so 5 years on, yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go. There was not a lot of detail about what that skirmish was exactly, but from what they've said, a lot of the times, because they start shooting on civilians so much, the civilians ended up obviously shooting back on them. Getting rid of them. They were tired of being shot at, understandably.
Yeah, makes sense.
And they thought all the people they saw were troops. Skip forward now for another 17 years.
17 years.
For another 17 years, those 2, Onoda and the other guy, I think it was Kazuki, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 lived in the jungle and continued their mission, gathering intelligence wherever possible and attacking what they considered to be Allied troops whenever the opportunity arose. They still believed that Japan would eventually send more troops that they could train in guerrilla warfare, and then with the intelligence they're still gathering, they would retake the island from the Allied forces. This is generally what they believe still at this point. So, 27 years after?
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, because after all, the commanding officer stated to them, no matter what, they were going to physically come and get them.
Yeah. And especially if they were probably quite young then as well, weren't they? So.
Oh yeah, he was 20 when this started.
Being of that age.
Yeah.
You take on board whatever your commander says to you. So
exactly. You just, and like even back then it was more traditional and
definitely.
Just said he was 20 when he got taken to there. It doesn't actually 20. Say.
Yeah,
but it doesn't say when he got sent to the island, like how old he was then. Just 20 when he originally joined the army.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So that was 27 years. So that would have been when. Okay, this is it actually. So October 1972, after 27 years of hiding, Onoda's only remaining soldier that I mentioned, Kazuki, I believe his name was as well, as someone else mentioned later, was killed during a fight with a Filipino patrol, because it was in the Philippine island. So yeah, he was in Filipino control at this point. Again, I imagine prior to this, the Japanese government had long thought that both of them must be dead, because 17 years after they'd last, specifically seen them. Didn't think anyone could survive that long. However, they now realise that there was every possibility that Onoda may also still be alive, because they've also now got the body of Kazuki or Suzuki, one of them. So after this, they sent in search parties to try and find Onoda into the jungle. However, after 27 years, he had become pretty good at hiding, and they were never able to find him. And he still continued to resume his mission on his own for another 2 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So now it's 1974 at this point. Then. So in 1974, a college student named Nario Suzuki, so no relation to the other to the other dude, but decided to travel the world. He just didn't say where he was originally from. Actually, I might have seen that, but I'm not too sure. But I think he might have been Japanese. Actually, going by the name, thinking about it now, makes more sense.
Probably would be.
But I don't know where he lived, though.
That's fine.
So 1974, a college student named Nario Suzuki decided to travel the world. He stated that during his travels, he had a list of things he wanted to find: a panda, an abominable snowman, and Onoda.
Oh, okay.
Which is a weird thing to want to go and do in 1974.
Depending on where you're from, I suppose if he was Japanese, he probably thought Onoda as some sort of legend.
It must have been a legend by then,
or a myth, or there's no one really living in there. Is there sort of kind of crossed his mind, that kind of thing? That's what people would have said, and then maybe he thought, yes, there is. I'm going to go find him.
Yeah, and I suppose it would have popped up in the last 2 years as well. So even if he was thinking about it before, and then in like 1972, when they saw the other guy, they were like, "Oh, he might still be there." He was like, "Okay, I'm on this."
Yep, that's it.
Fair enough. Whatever. I mean, I'd go look for Bigfoot, and I don't even believe in Bigfoot.
I mean, out of the three, you're more likely to see a panda, though, aren't you?
You'd have thought.
Yeah. I like how he picked one of the most easiest things that you could see, because there must have been around in zoos at this point,
especially in Asia as well. Like this is going on in Asia.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a lot more prevalent over there.
Fair enough, though. That's free
thing. Yeah. So he travelled to the island, and I forget now the name of it. Lulang, was it something like that? I said. Where is it? I've got it here. Where was it? I don't need to look, but I want to know now. Where the heck was it? Lubang.
So on the island of Lubang.
Lubangi. Go back to where I was. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So he travelled to the island, presumably after failing to find a Yeti, and walked through the jungle looking for any signs of Onoda. So this was something that thousands of people before him had tried to do, like all these search parties we mentioned just over the past 2 years. That's going to be hundreds probably. I mean, all the Japanese people, the delegates they sent over near the beginning, there was all the people around, civilians that went in looking for them. Everyone else had gone in looking for him. No one was able to find him. However, this random student managed to do what none of them were able to do, and actually found not only his dwelling, but also he was in there himself, Onoda.
Finally.
I'm shocked that he didn't just attack him or something after all this time.
Some random guy. He could have been anybody. Yeah. And he's been sitting in the same place, probably hiding around, different places for all those years. Some random guy approaches him. All right, legend.
And you can't imagine he's in the best mental space either. Like him being
not really.
29 years, the last 2 years on his own.
On his own as well, surviving on coconuts or whatever else he could find to eat,
Well, apparently that's why they kept attacking the farms. They'd take their cows and shit. That's why all the locals in the area were fucking tired of them.
Got you. Makes sense.
So then he attempted to convince Onoda to come home with him, but Onoda still refused, stating his commanding officer said they would return to him. He would not believe it was over until they returned to order him to do so. Dude was committed still after 29 years. He was still committed. After all this, they finally found him, and he was still like, no.
No.
But the student didn't want to give up there, so the student then travelled back to Japan to inform them that he had found Onoda and exactly what he had said.
Mhm.
And then contact from the Japanese government was made with Onoda's original commanding officer, who was still alive, now retired and working at a bookstore, who was then, taken to the island. They were able to find him, and he told him that they had lost the war and he should now give up his weapons and surrender to the Filipinos. Yeah, so yeah, he listened. The issue was during the time he had killed 30 Filipinos and injured over 100 others, as well as destroying numerous crops for the past 3 decades. So a lot of people would have probably died or suffered from those crops as well.
Yeah, not in there. Yeah.
Because bear in mind, they were not only looking for evidence and robbing stuff for food for themselves, but also trying to mess with everyone else as much as possible. So they probably burnt loads of food too or something,
Yeah, of course.
which killed more. The fact that he had done all this and wasted the last 29 years of his life was a crushing blow for the soldier. There's actually a quote here from what he said in between that time after finding out and, when stopping. Quote, we really lost the war. How could they have been so sloppy? Suddenly everything went back. A storm raged inside of me. I felt like a fool for having been so tense and cautious on the way here. Worse than that, what had I been doing all these years? Gradually, the storm subsided, and for the first time, I really understood. My 30 years as a guerrilla fighter to the Japanese army were abruptly finished. This was the end. I pulled back the bolt of my rifle and unloaded the bullets. I eased off the pack that I always carried with me and laid the gun on top of it. Would I really have no use for the rifle that I had polished and cared for like a baby all these years? Or Kazuka's rifle, which I had hidden in the crevice in the rocks? Had the war really ended 30 years ago? If it had, what had my other soldiers died for? If what was happening was true, wouldn't it be better if I had died with them?
Interesting. I like that, man. That's I just can't believe he stuck to his commander's word though, didn't he? So
Yeah, man. He proper honor, isn't it? Like that kind of Japanese culture.
Definitely, man. And I take it so he eventually gave up.
Yeah, he did. He gave up and did that. He surrendered himself. On March 10th, 1975, age 52.
Wow.
I know that in full uniform that he had managed to keep in immaculate condition, someone stated, and they have no idea how.
Fair play.
Walked out of the jungle. He'd already left his gun and stuff behind, but then he walked out of the jungle, surrendered his samurai sword to the Filipino president, who was there to greet him.
Fair. So after that point, did he was he apprehended and kept
the president?
Yeah.
The Filipino president then did something that was met with animosity in the Philippines, but celebrated in Japan. He excused Onoda of all his crimes as he truly believed he was still at war the entire time.
That's brilliant.
That's fair, really.
Do you know when the statute of limitations kick in for murder and stuff?
In America, there isn't a statute of limitations on murder.
No, but in certain areas there are, aren't there?
So, I don't know. I don't know.
It exists, right?
Statute of limitations exists, but I don't know if it does for murder in most places. It probably does in some. But...
Yeah, I can't remember what it's for now, but
it's because it's classed for him. They're saying that it was wartime the whole time. So if anyone was to blame, it should have been his commanding officers for not.
Fair enough. Yeah,
because he wasn't even dead. When I was reading this, I was like, "Well, he must be dead. That's why he hasn't gone back to him." But no, he's just fucking retired in a bookstore. Go and get your guy. What the hell?
The commander,
the original
retired.
Commanding officer, that sent him there in the first place, just said, "I will come and get you and tell you when to come home." Which is in a bookstore.
That's ridiculous.
They just gloss over that in every report of the story I've seen as well.
Wow, that's ridiculous. Does Onoda have a happy life after? Does he settle down?
Well, Onoda eventually returned to Japan, but was unhappy that the country had changed so much in the 3 decades, and he felt that a lot of the Japanese traditional virtues had been forgotten. He said that in his view, Japan now kowtowed to the rest of the world and had lost its pride and sense of itself. He shortly thereafter moved to Brazil and bought a ranch with the military back pay he received upon returning to Japan, and then got married.
Oh, fair play to him.
Yeah. So he got back pay for all that time as well, which fair as well. If you're stating, you were at war the whole time, then he would also be due military back pay. So that makes sense. And he stayed there for so when was this originally? The last time, 1975 was when he left. He stayed in Brazil then after going there until 1984. However, in 1984, after reading of a murder that had taken place in Japan, consisting of a child killing their own parents, he became even more distressed at the state of his country and decided to move back to Japan. Once back in Japan, he opened a nature school for young people where he could teach them survival techniques, how to be independent, and, as he stated, just how to be all around better Japanese citizens.
Yeah.
And that actually, there's a lot of reports of people that did that and said how much it helped them, and he lived until the old age of 91 and died on January the 16th, 2014.
Oh, wow. So, like 6 years ago.
Yeah, long life, man.
Yeah, 91. Fair play to him.
Not the ending I expected when I started reading this.
What was that, sorry?
Not the ending I expected when I started reading this.
No. Yeah, I when you were going with it, I thought he was going to be like murdered by someone, or I don't know,
or go terrorist.
Yeah, or just not be
go
found.
A bit crazy.
Just not be found like an unsolved, that kind of legends or myth or of
just disappeared.
Onoda. Yeah, did
it's really nice. Though. I like that ending. I really like that ending. It made me feel a bit warm and fuzzy that he was just going back and wanted to give back to him, and that.
Yeah, that's good. It's nice.
I thought you were going to be.
Well,
I thought he was going to be a crazy killer in the end.
Well, yeah, he could have been. It could have turned out a lot worse for him. So
yeah. Considering he still must have had, and then he got. I'm guessing probably getting married and having the quiet family life probably helped. After he got away from it all. Surprisingly, it turned out that way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I suppose he helped a lot of people after as well. But did he have any kids, or was it just a wife that he had?
That's a question. I think he did, but I'm not completely sure.
Yeah. I mean, he was quite old when he got out of the army, so to speak.
It really surprised me when I saw that. He lived until 2016, because I think you just forget how recent World War II was.
Yeah. Well, it's 70 years, isn't it? So over 70 years.
Yeah. Weird, man.
So no, that's again. I need a film about this now, Carl. We need to write to people and get a film made about his life.
We need to make this happen.
Yeah, there's so many war films. I mean, it's crazy how many.
Actually, you're right. Actually, that would be a really good film. Actually.
I mean, have you ever heard about what's it called now? It's called Reach for the Sky, I think. Hold on.
Isn't that a song by Escalade 7?
Yes, but originally it's a film based on a true story about the aviator Douglas Bader, who lost both his legs.
Oh, okay. Is that when you say aviator? Is that this old school pilot?
Yeah, that's what they call him. I think it's.
It's not the actual film called The Aviator, I'm guessing.
No, it's called Reach for the Sky. It's released in the 50s. I think it was. Let me just have a look now. It's to do with so Douglas Bader is in the Royal Air Force, and basically he loses both of his legs, but still goes on to become a great pilot, basically.
That's a weird question. From what I've seen, I don't think there's a lot of pedals involved. Is doing
no, not that I remember.
What, from all those times that you flew a plane?
Yeah, I think it was Spitfires that he ended up flying as well.
Oh, so yeah.
I don't know how they worked, but yeah, man, that film actually got a BAFTA as well, if I remember rightly, in the 50s. Or it was awarded for a BAFTA. But
you're probably a good person to recommend a lot of films for me, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe next week I'll come on board with some film recommendations that I've been checking out.
that kind of stuff would work like perfectly in the intro. To be fair.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and just next time as well, just like send me images over anything you want included, and I'll put them up.
Yeah, man, that sounds good. But no, I've been intrigued about these stories, man. I'll have to go and look at some of the information on them. I like when we spoke last time. It was really cool because I got to go back and watch like is it Big Country? I can't remember what it's called now.
Wild Country.
Wild Country.
Big
Country.
Country.
That was interesting to go back and watch. So no, that's great to hear about those kind of things. So thanks.
Yeah, man. No, that's cool, man. No, I'm very much. Like, I was surprised with your one. Like, most of the serial killers you hear about have to have an interest in true crime. You know, most of them. You know.
Exactly. I know I hadn't heard about this. I really do like true crime and serial killer stuff. So finding about him was yes, get on board, find some more information about him, and yeah, maybe one day a film. Who knows?
Yeah, I would generally watch that. To be fair, it would be really good.
Yeah,
and it'd be cheap as hell to make.
Yeah,
like,
I reckon so. They could do it
in the jungle the whole time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be like fucking Rambo. Cool. Oh, cool, man. Yeah. All right then. I might as well finish the recording there.
Yeah. Do you want to do like an
outro? What do you want to do? Give me some ideas.
So let me roll off. Well, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's stories. Carl,
I don't hope you enjoyed them.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the stories this week. And guys, don't forget to check out the podcast at KD and Kersey Podcast on Instagram.
Well, I would like to think, to be fair, that if they watched it and got to the end, they're already at the point where they've checked it out.
I'd like to think that.
To be fair.
Yeah. Please do. Please go follow us.
Or more, thank you for checking this out. We appreciated it. But anyone that didn't check it out, go back to them and tell them to check it out.
Thank you. That's really kind of you.
But if they don't want to check it out, then don't let them check them out. We don't want them.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. All right, cool then, man. Thank you very much, and as always, for that.
You're welcome. Thanks for well, I like to think we're a team now. So, but still,
we are a team now.
Thanks for not firing me, and I'm glad I can co-host alongside you. And
I'm liking this. All my excitement and motivation has been into this lately. So I've been dealing with your things, getting them out of the way, and wanting to go with this. I've been really excited to do this today. So
good. Well, I'll be interested to hear what you have for me next week.
Yeah, man. Oh, and obviously as well, we haven't actually mentioned it at all yet, but this will be the first one that will go on. Where is it? There we go. This will be the first one that will go on to Joe's Pit.
I can't do it.
So you can't do it.
I can't do it.
Hold on. Right there.
Flip me.
Now do it.
No, it's this one.
There you go. Whoa. There you go. Yeah, so this is the first one that will be on Joke Pit. All you 150,000 people watch this, even though I'm saying it at the end. So pointless saying it now, but
please watch it.
Yeah, should make a little advert or something for it.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, but cool, man. Anything you need to plug or anything? I think we covered most, didn't we?
Yeah, everything we've covered. Make sure you check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Please subscribe on Spotify and to KD Comedy on YouTube. And hope you enjoy.
Oh God, I can't do this.
Everything in the corner, but I can't get
there
to
it. There we go. Fucking hell. It's mirrored, man. It's too much for my brain to comprehend.
There you go. But yeah.
And of course, like we said as well, the In Your Pub comedy night as well, for anyone that's interested. If you want to buy a ticket beforehand, I recommend it. Just drop me a message on Facebook at KD Comedian Hinken. Or just come down on the night. There should be tickets free as well. I can't guarantee, obviously, but it should be. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, then thank you very much, man.
Thank you, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for listening.
Is this just where I do this now?
I'm still